Alright guys, so I was getting ready to feed the piglets and they were nibbling on the electric fence and not getting lifted. So that's a problem because they'll start to test it. They realize, why am I scared of this thing? It is relatively inert. It doesn't do anything to me. As it is, they have plenty of room to roam. All their food, their bedding, their water is all inside of their paddock. So there's no incentive for them to challenge what up till now has been a negative stimulus. However, the longer that they munch on it and fool around with it, and there is no negative stimulus, the more likely they are to say, well, let's go see what's over here on the other side. So, here we are. So I've got the fence tester, voltage tester. This is cheap. I think this is probably $5, $10, maybe $20. I have no idea. At Tractor Supply. I had another one, but the wire rusted out on me. And basically, this little hook on the top, you set that on your wire on the fence, and then you have a little ground rod. I really need a third person. And you have your ground rod, you stick that in the ground, and so long as there's a complete circuit, I'm not sure if there's in the frame or not, so long as there's a complete circuit, the little lights will light up as much voltage as you have. Now, we have a pretty hefty energizer for our pigs. So coming out of the house, it's well over 7,000 volts. But you lose some voltage across all your lines, the more lines you have. And like in the summer when you have a lot of heavy brush, that's going to short it out. Now what I do is, let me see if I can do this in steps. First thing I'm going to do is take the little ground rod, shove it in the ground. Where's my... Take the voltage tester, up here to our line. Can you hear that? I don't know if the... It looks weird in the camera, but in person we're getting 7,000 volts, which is good. So this line goes right to that little post right there, and it goes straight back all the way to the house. So I know that from the house to right here, it's 100% of the volts coming out of the Energizer to here, which is great. So at some point, so what we're going to do now is walk up here. All right. So I was way over in that corner over there where we knew we had power, and the fence line kind of comes up over this way and over that green T-post. I don't even know if you can see it in the video. And we're up here at one of these gates. And I want to see if we have power up here. Because off to my right, down through that fence line, on the other side of it is where the piglets are. So, again, we'll just shove this little freaking thing in here. Like that, grab one of these wires. Nothing. Nothing. So, let's work our way back to there and see what happens. Look, I'm no electrician, but we have power over there, and we don't have power here, so there's probably a break in the path. Sometimes that's as simple as a tree falls down. We've got the damn beavers down in the flowage that have been dropping trees lately because they're getting a little big for their britches and starting to explore and expand beyond their tolerable the limits of the flowage. They're creeping onto my land a little too much. So anyway, we're just gonna start walking the fence line back, making sure that there's nothing on it. Sometimes, especially in summer, these grasses will grow up. You get enough of these grasses touching the line, and sure as shit, it will short out. So we go back and follow the line everywhere. Make sure that stuff like this, make sure that wire's not rubbing up on that tree, because that can certainly happen. Sometimes, usually, if I get 7,000 volts blasting out of that Energizer going to those animals, and it's leaves and twigs and that stuff from the summer growth, or where the pigs have kind of rooted and put up some dirt. some will still come through, especially on grass, but if it's earth that's blown up on it, or trees that have fallen down, something kind of large like that to definitely ground it out, you're definitely going to see no juice going through, or next to nothing. So we check our connections. You know, this is a wonky little one here. This is kind of a, so this is a wonky little connection, but we've still got metal on metal contact. Some metal bar going all the way up through that gate handle, and continuing on. And we can check it right here too, because there's a funky little T over there. Well, let's just go over here. So I'm still walking around looking. There's old fence in here, so there's some wonky stuff that happened in here. That's looking good. That's looking good. Wait a minute. That's not looking good. So it looks here, what we should have is metal to metal contact. This is a rubber insulator, or nylon. Actually, no, these are the rubber ones. These are the little nylon insulators. So that metal should be making contact with the metal there. So this looks like a complete break. Ugh. Let's find it, see what happens here. First thing, grab a rod, stab the earth. No, things are freezing up on us. Let's see what that does. So if we test the left side, plenty of juice. And we test the right side, nothing. Go back to the left. Look at that. Huh? Alright, so we found the problem. Looks like when the employee was out here, Trey, who rerouted this whole line before we had the fence, that green fence post right over here along where these rocks are, because actually that's where we stopped digging because the fence was in the way. I moved that post over, and then one day had him reset up this line. Looks like there was a small spot of oversight. And that was 2 weeks ago maybe that happened. And I've noticed several occasions where the pigs have been kind of like bumping the fence more often than not. I'm like, geez, that seems awful weird. Like there's no power. And then it wasn't until tonight where I was watching them really mouth it and not getting zapped. I said, okay, I might want to go check this out. And of course, yesterday, Trey did a whole walk in the entire fence line and found a big tree down, which we assumed was probably shortened out because we've had a lot of October winds that blow them down. The beavers go chew stuff, they fall down. So we just assumed that was it. So then after the I caught the piglets this evening, munched on the wire. I suspected something else, and looks like this is it. So now we've got to get this hooked back up. I have to grab one insulator, do the rubber, connect it to the metal. And that's kind of what, when I'm doing my wire, I put these big loops into things. This is a little, wonky with all these extra little barbs coming off because it was kind of a temporary setup, and then it's been modified. I mean, look, there's like several others over there. There's a bunch of like little rings and loops from all kinds of temporary setups, and then it keeps getting shifted the more we kind of plan things and adjust things and modify things, and eventually once we have it in a relatively secure spot, we'll go through and clean the whole thing up. But until then, let me get this run fixed up here. So grab that nylon insert, pull it out of the way, hooked on my gate handle, put on my little barb. Plenty of spark over there. Go to the right. Plenty of spark. That's kind of, there it goes. All right, let's go for a walk. Hey guys. Are you gonna be my fence tester? Do it. I'll give you a chance. Go for it. I saw it wasn't you. The little caramel colored one. The pointy ears. That was one over there that was missing. Okay, so fence is on. I didn't even need to put down my tester. They've become so used over the last couple weeks of just kind of touching it, and their confidence to touch it has grown so much over the last couple weeks that they didn't have much issue just coming up here and saying like, what's this? So, anyhow, let's drop this down in here. Looks good. So, I'm getting 7,000 volts out here. Most problems are associated with a ground of some sort. You know, whether you don't have enough ground rods in the ground initially setting it up, or you just have a log, some earth, some brush, something that is actually coming up to the wire and grounding things out, which is just grabbing that energy coming through the wire and sucking it into the earth and not sending it all the way through the line where it can grab an animal and remind them that it's not an appropriate place for them to be hanging out. So, in this case, it was just human error. I'll check with Trey and see what happened. He was probably just working in the afternoon. Things happen. We caught it. And moving forward. So, that's it for now. Thanks, guys. Make sure you subscribe, and we'll see you next time.